Welcome to another episode of Take 47 Podcast. And today's episode is going to be shorter than usual. They're usually like 20 minutes long. Today's episode is going to be shorter than that. I only have like 3 topics to talk about. And the first topic I have to talk about is Trump is threatening Canada with another tariff. And it's not really another tariff. It's an increase of a already established tariff. And it's going to be it's a tariff that was originally 25%, and starting on August 1st, at least so far, of course, if Canada takes action, then this might change. But so far, Canada is going to get hit with a 35% tariff, so it's a 10% increase. And the primary reason that President Trump has listed this increase is because of Canada's failure to deal with any of the fentanyl trafficking into the U.S. And rather rapidly, their Prime Minister, Mark Carney, responded, and his response was that Canada would that they would respond strongly. And obviously the leader of the opposition, Poilievre, Pierre, also made a comment on this and saying that it was unjustified. He's the leader of the Conservative Party or movement in Canada, and he lost the last elections to Carney. It was a pretty crazy election cycle. But Trump has said that the Liberal Prime Minister, who they currently have, is going to be easier to negotiate with, easier than the Conservative one. And this is kind of expected because obviously Mexico has taken action with the fentanyl trafficking into the U.S. They have taken plenty of action. And the border has been shut down completely. I believe it was last month, the first time, or at least the first time in a while, that there has been 0 crossings into the U.S. Like literally 0. Absolutely nobody has illegally entered the country, and that's pretty. That's a record. That's pretty impressive to do, especially in 4 or 5 months of the Trump admin. And it turns out that the Trump administration didn't need a new bill. Like Biden said that he needed a bill to shut down the border. They just need to enforce the previous laws that were already there. And that also worked out for the fentanyl inflow into the U.S. And now we have to deal with Canada, but with Canada, we don't really have to deal with, closing down the border that much. The Canadian border and the Canadian-American border is obviously much bigger than the American-Mexican border. And it's going to be much easier to deal with them economically than it is going to be to build a wall or monitor every single point of the border between our 2 countries, which are massive, by the way. And the whole the whole border of the Canada and U.S. is really the only way that the whole really the only way that fentanyl can be smuggled into the U.S. through our northern border is through the border. There isn't really Canadian gangs or organizations that are in the U.S. That's really just a Mexico thing. And obviously China is another country who was hit with a tariff for fentanyl. but they're obviously across. They're basically on the other side of the world, and they're definitely going to be harder to deal with because they are doing it in a different way, because obviously they're not touching us in like, through a border. We don't share any borders, so we're not, our countries aren't touching, and they do it in different ways. The obviously in Nevada was a big example. They were buying farmland near military bases strategically, and a few states, I believe most states, have already dealt with this issue, but except Nevada, I believe the governor rejected a bill to prevent them from buying land near military bases. And I still wonder why she rejected that bill. Not a very smart move, I would say. But the other 49, or really, I guess, 48 or 47 states, it's not as big a deal in Hawaii and in Alaska. There's not really much farmland there. But the rest of the states have dealt with it pretty effectively. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the Canada new tariff, starting on August 1st. Hopefully it doesn't actually, get imposed. And hopefully Canada does take some greater action to reduce the inflow of fentanyl into the country. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the Canada-U.S. new tariff. The second thing is Trump is going to visit Texas today. Of course, all of you have probably already seen this, unless you have been living under a rock. But flash floods have hit Texas since like July the 4th. So that's almost a week now. And they've caused an estimated like 20-something billion dollars in damages, and have taken about 120 lives. And there's tons and tons of people missing that are yet to be found. And President Trump, along with Kristi Noem, one of the people in the federal government that are now in charge of this. Excuse the train in the background. Sorry about that. Are going to visit Texas, specifically the counties that were hit, and they are visiting. Obviously, President Trump is expected to visit. He's the president. He's involved in really everything, and the DHS Secretary Noem is visiting, but this wouldn't be a casual or I guess regular thing for her to be visiting or for her to attend to. The FEMA director, who is it'd usually be President Trump and the FEMA director, but he is not attending for unknown reasons. Of course, I don't know, and apparently, so far no news outlet actually knows why he's not attending. But so far he's not attending, and the main reason why the head of FEMA attends is usually to show like federal support along with the president. But DHS Secretary Noem is going to take care of this along with the president, which I guess is fine. And other than that, the flash floods in Texas have been very, very devastating. They've filled all the news over the weekend. It's been, again, about a week, and they've been on the news 24/7. Every day there's more and more dead people and more people missing and more damages. And some of the damages and some of the floods have also been hitting New Mexico and causing a few deaths and a few damages there too. But the main part is really just in Texas. And yeah, President Trump and the DHS secretary are Hopefully going to visit there later today. And yeah, that's it for the catastrophe in Texas. But talking about President Trump, Iran has, well, they've had this for a while now, but I'm not reporting on this because it's existed. I'm pretty sure, this is not the only fundraiser for this sort of thing. There's probably many more, and I'm guessing many other countries have similar things. But they have a fundraiser specifically meant for the assassination of the president of the U.S., obviously Donald Trump. And I'm not reporting on this because it exists. I'm reporting on this because it has hit around $40 million to, kill the president. And quite recently, Iran has made threats and comments that they might try to kill the president with a drone while he is sunbathing. Trump gave a pretty hilarious response about that. He hasn't sunbathed since he was like 7. And this is obviously a major security concern. But the Secret Service has obviously great, they're pretty good at detecting, anything that might be a threat to the president. Obviously, there are a few outliers. Of course, the assassination attempt while President Trump was in Butler, Pennsylvania last year. But other than that, there really haven't been that many outliers that the Secret Service hasn't been able to properly detect before it becomes too serious. And of course, these are just a few that get through. There's obviously many, many more that are being planned and are set to take place, but are getting intercepted and stopped before they can actually occur. There's so many things that can be spotted in videos, and so many things that are still being found in videos, just people just rewatching the videos from different angles and different perspectives. And there's still a lot to be uncovered in this whole dilemma. And the media did a very good job just forgetting about this story. And, they talked about it the first day, probably from the assassination attempt until the RNC, and probably like the day after, and that's pretty much it. They haven't talked about it at all since. And obviously Fox News is kind of like the outlier of this, but in the mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, ABC News, CBS, whatever, they rather quickly and conveniently forgot about this whole story because it just doesn't match their narrative. And it's kind of convenient that they've all just been quiet about this. Of course, I'm just, not really 100% sure about this, but, there obviously could be ties. Not really with the first one, but with the second person that tried to kill Trump. He is still alive. He wasn't killed, but he had some weird ties to Ukraine. And once I still remember this pretty clearly that they found a letter of a guy. And I still remember this pretty clearly that they found a letter. I believe somebody had wrote to the guy, or the guy had wrote to somebody, as like $100,000 reward for killing President Trump. And they rather conveniently decided to like post it on, well, not post it, just show it on all social media and on the news networks. And, it's kind of like spreading the news that, if you kill the guy, you get $100,000. Of course, trying to do such a thing is pretty stupid. If you were to somehow succeed, managed to like get through all the security and all the process to even get close to the president. Considering, if you even do make it out alive, then you'll probably just go to jail and rot in there. And, the truth is, and the odds of actually going through that and actually surviving and being able to actually claim the money are really, really low. Not just for President Trump, but really for any president. Or really any, like, world leader, but, especially the president of the U.S. And yeah, it's pretty stupid what some people have actually tried to do and think, that they have thought that they are actually going to succeed. This is a pretty much impossible mission. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the Iranian threats to President Trump. Of course, I doubt that they will cease. I'm pretty sure there will be plenty more. And I'm pretty sure that, the few assassination attempts that we've seen on the president are, they most likely will not be the last, at least while he is still in office. We just have to pray for protection over the president. That's pretty much all we can do. And yeah, that's really it. So yeah, if you are liking today's video, obviously drop a like. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. Yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments about this whole thing, and thanks for watching.